In keeping with that theme, in fact, according to the U.S. Central Command, 3 service members have been killed and 5 injured during the start of Operation Epic Fury. The U.S. Central Command also addressing claims from Iran that the USS Abraham Lincoln was hit. Now, they say that it was not hit, and they are continuing to launch aircraft in support of CENTCOM's campaign. And here to talk more about Operation Epic Fury is national security analyst and retired Navy captain Armen, who also spent time on the Abraham Lincoln. So give me first your reaction to the latest news that's coming out of this conflict with Iran.
Certainly. Good morning, Allie. So the Abraham Lincoln, these guys are launching hundreds of sorties. The Super Hornets, the advanced Hawkeyes, the Helos are out there, the jammers, they are doing incredible work. The intensity of these combat operations, you're going to eat, you're going to sleep, and you're going to fly right now. You're doing all of these things. When you're not flying, you're strike planning. You're planning for your next event. You're looking at what the threats are. Where's perhaps remnants of air defense? What are the weapons that you got to use? What are the targets that you're going to be using? All of this is going to this calculus. It is a very, very intense operation that's going on there. And you got 5,500 men and women on that ship, and on, of course, the Gerald Ford, and the rest. Let's not forget the destroyers out there that are shooting down missiles and shooting tomahawks in country, protecting the carrier, protecting our bases in Al Udeid and other Gulf states, trying to knock down these missiles. It is nonstop for these guys right now.
Tell me your reaction first in the decision by President Trump to begin these strikes in collaboration with Israel, and what you have seen over the past 24 hours.
Well, I was on KUSI before talking about, I don't know that military strikes are going to accomplish what Trump wants to do. I will caveat that by saying that if there are organized, if the administration and Israel are coordinating with elements that are on the ground, say saboteur teams or Iranian resistance or cyber operations specifically targeted to destabilize the regime, take them down, and give an opening for the resistance to go in and take over, then you might actually have a chance. Taking out Khamenei is a big deal, but there's 80 other clerics who are ready to take his place. So it is a very major symbolic event that occurred, but in terms of overall long-term, it's not substantive in and of itself. But they also took out a lot of the military leadership, the ROTC leadership. The idea is also, can we just put Iran in its place? Can we stop them from supporting terrorism around the world? Can we stop them from building drones, giving them to Russia in their war against Ukraine? Because that's a big deal as well. So a lot of that is happening, and the Trump administration's, they're continuing to seize these oil tankers, stopping this flow of money, illicit money coming into Iran, has also had a major impact on that country.
And of course, the concern, the speculation that Iran was rebuilding their nuclear program. I think that a lot of the entities around the world weigh in on that when you do hear about the potential of their nuclear capabilities, and a lot of people not wanting that to be the case.
Yeah, let's not pretend otherwise. Iran wants a nuclear weapon. No matter what they say, they were going to make every effort to do that. That was their great equalizer for them, and the West is rightfully saying we're not going to allow that to actually happen. The difference is under this administration, we've actually done something physical to stop that from happening, using those bunker buster bombs, the strike that we had a couple of months ago, and now the efforts to try to take out the rest of the ancillary or related technologies. They still have a lot of that enriched uranium. We don't know exactly where it is. It could be buried under rubble. We're pretty sure it's not spread out all over the place because we haven't seen like a lot of, we haven't seen like radiological alarms. So where that is, how we can maybe get our hands on it, get it out of the Iranian people's hands. Of course, that's just one part. Nuclear triggers, the ballistic missile technology, taking out their ability to build ballistic missiles. It's all part of that. It's a ground-up kind of thing. You got to take out the entire supply chain to eliminate that from happening. And of course, if you do get regime change within Iran that is willing to come back into the Council of Nations, of free nations, of responsible nations around the world, we can maybe see Iran that we saw back in the 1970s, that is a productive member of society. The Iranian people are great people. Persian food is my favorite food, frankly. They're intelligent, hardworking doctors, lawyers, engineers. Incredibly rich history under the thumb of this religious theocracy that has destroyed that country. And Persians in this country are celebrating and hoping that perhaps this is an end of a long nightmare for the Iranian people.
And of course, a lot of people have indicated that this is not going to be over quickly. Do you see that same share that same sentiment, is the fact that this is going to take a while to unfold?
When you engage in combat operations, you don't want to get into half measures. You've got to go full on. 100-0 is the right score. The faster that you can execute a military operation, the quicker you do it, the easier it is, and the better the long-term outcome. You saw Russia was not able to take Ukraine. 4 years later, we're still fighting it. Operation Enduring Freedom, Iraqi Freedom, 20 years. It took a very long time. You go in very quickly. Desert Storm is an example of what can happen when you do massive, absolutely overwhelming combat power to take out an enemy and accomplish your goals. So my hope that it doesn't go very long, because the other side of this coin is we're using a lot of very expensive weapons, such as Tomahawks, which take a long time to build. It's great to see us using these kamikaze drones, which are cheaper. 30 to 40 of those is the cost of one Tomahawk missile. But these are also the same kind of weapons that we might use under another near-peer kind of conflict. So there is that calculus that is also a very big part, and also it's the ability to sustain those operations. How long can those ships continue to operate? How long can those crews and those people continue to operate in that stress environment? So it's all a question of, combat power. Certainly we have more than Iran, but even we don't have that unlimited.
All right. Armen Kurdian, we appreciate your insight, and thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks, Allie.